How's everyone? How's everyone doing with their leads this time of year? Are we finding that they are more responsive, less responsive? There's fewer of them, more of them? Has interest rates changed anything in your market as far as motivation goes? Every market's so different, even if it's just a different city, really. So it's crazy. Did you
We're
guys
a mess
get
here
a,
in the States because
yeah?
it's election year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our
Everyone just,
market's all but like,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
talking to agents here in Pennsylvania because I'm licensed in Georgia and
Mm-hmm.
I just have to take my state test here in Pennsylvania. And they're like, I don't see any value in doing that right now because there's no market.
Yeah. Now, do you have a time lapse that you have to be able to challenge a test to be able to do it without having to take any courses?
No, I haven't changed my address to Pennsylvania permanently
Oh, okay.
yet. So it's still, so my license is still in Georgia because I still have my Georgia address.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah, so I would just have to take, because I have the Georgia license, I could just take the state here.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. Like some states are different, like
Mm-hmm.
reciprocity.
Yeah.
So when I was licensed in Virginia, all I had to do was do continuing education. Well, I mean, there's all they have to do all the background checks and all like
Yeah.
the tape particulars, but I just had to do the continuing education to get my
Okay.
license in Georgia. I didn't have to go through a whole course, but it was still the continuing education on that one was like 40 hours. It was a lot. It was
Okay.
intense.
It was still, well,
Yeah.
it's interesting how, even here, like province to province, like just different terminology, even just of what they refer to, it's the same thing, right? In Ontario, well, at least when I was practicing, it was conditions on an offer. BC, it's subjects,
Mm,
right? So it's just simple things like that, right?
yeah.
And there's different laws. Like in BC, you're not allowed to resell leads. I can't sit here, gather a bunch of leads, convert them, and then resell them as a converted lead. Not allowed to do that. Um, yeah, it's interesting how each province and
Well, and what's
really is.
interesting in this location of Pennsylvania, it's a private multi-list.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't, the agents, no, none of the agents have their own websites because they can't market their listings.
Yeah. Well, that's
And you
interesting. Hmm.
can't even do lead generation in this area. And I'm like, that's all I know. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
why
like,
would
what
I
do you
get into
mean?
real estate if I can even generate my own leads? And
Yeah. How do you?
so and that's been my homework in talking to the real estate agents around here. I'm like, why has no one contested this? Like, why is everyone
Mhm.
just okay with it being a private multi-list? And honestly, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So nobody here has ever generated leads. So they don't even know what it means to do so. So all y'all that are bitching about your leads, at least you can generate them where you are.
Yeah.
These agents, yeah, they can't because the private multi-list will not allow syndication.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that because they're
Yeah.
just,
Well,
you
that's the same as, well, Quebec doesn't have like a multiple listing service. Well, they might have something, but you cannot advertise any other listing other than your own, right? So if you have a website, you have to manually input all the listings on your website. There's no such thing as a feed of listings that you
yeah.
can opt into, things like that.
And that's most countries. I mean,
Hmm.
United States is really probably the broadest of multi-lists. Um, and I think it's because they've really learned how to monetize it because it's very
Hmm.
expensive to be part of the multi-lists.
Hmm.
And depending on what area you're in, depending on what multi-list carries that those listings, sometimes you're overlapped and you have to be part of two multi-lists.
Yeah.
And then you're paying a percentage of your sales back to the multi-list. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's all about money, man. It's all about
Yeah, it
like
is.
everyone getting their hand in the pot.
All the different boards. It's the same like in the GTM. Like, why can't you just have one? Like, there's different boards. Like, some of them have joined, but then like they know that there's so much money in it. Like, why would we join another board and get less money? Like, you know, we know that there's so many realtors dependent on this board and these feeds that if we go, now we have to split all those costs with other boards, or how they, you know, it's probably all the logistics of it. And yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, in
it'll
our
be,
market here, there's a lot of agents getting out of real estate right now because the fees are so expensive and the sales are just not what they were before.
mm-hmm,
And you know, there was a lot of laws going around with buyer agency, and that's all kind of changing dynamics that it's no longer advertised anymore what the buyer agent is going to make on the sale. That's
mm-hmm,
all free negotiation now, where before the seller would say, I agree to pay the buyer agent X amount of dollars.
yeah,
Where now they don't have to do that. So the listing agents have to get more educated and more well-rounded to be able to explain to the seller the importance of offering the agency to the buyer, because if they don't, it's going to make it more difficult to sell the house.
mm-hmm, yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's complicated on its own, right?
Yeah, because there's so many agents. It's like the level of entry into real estate. If you're a good test taker, you can do your online course in the United States. The average is like 60 hours.
Mm-hmm,
60 to 120 hours depending on where you live.
mm-hmm,
So literally you take your course online, you go take your state boards, and you're licensed to negotiate someone's biggest investments
yeah, which is kind of scary.
to
Or
make thousands of dollars. Yeah.
yeah, think of it, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Well,
The
and
level of it.
even the home that I'm in right now, my grandma's house, it's so interesting, right? Because they've had so like my uncles, I don't know, I don't think they took my career very seriously because they haven't asked me anything about my opinion of them selling this home. I may not be licensed in the state of Pennsylvania, but I know real estate and I
Yeah,
know where to put your investment to get a return in the sale.
yeah.
And like they've literally spent $7,000 on lipstick
Oh,
because
really?
they're covering up the cosmetics and they're not adding to the value of
Yeah,
being able to get a loan on the home.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
just sitting here going, but this agent comes in, right? So you have a bunch of agents now. Everybody's in Canada's going to laugh at me whenever I say like $250,000 price point, but they had multiple agents tell them 250 at max with everything being fixed. You got this one agent that he is a recovering drug addict and he was an appraiser and lost his appraisal license. I don't know how he has a real estate license, but he only sells 1 to 3 homes, maybe a year. And he came in and told them, well, if you do this and this, just cosmetic wise, we can get 325 for the house. So he's $75,000 higher
mm,
than 3 other agents. And he cut his commissions. And my uncles are like, wow, we can get that much for the house. Okay, we're going to put the money into it and list with you. So this agent has not only wasted their time, but he's wasted their money
yeah,
because they're not going to get it back out, because they think if I invest this money financially up front, it's going to come back to me in dividends when we sell. But what they're not recognizing is it's not going to sell.
yeah, yeah.
So no agent has really properly looked at, there's comps literally from last year this
Mm-hmm,
agent gave them. And I'm like, you can't go by a year ago. Like, look at what's active. Like, look at, if you're going to list this at 325, what else is out there available that's going to supersede what this home has to offer? It doesn't even have
yeah.
whole house air conditioning. There's no air conditioning upstairs.
Oh, okay.
There's only one full bath. I'm like, you guys are like smoking crack. But, you know, I just say all that to say we have a very important job to protect our clients and the sale to make the most amount of money. And it's not overpricing the home, because you're
Mm-hmm,
literally taking money out of their pocketbook because the amount of time invested
yeah.
of being on the market too long.
Mm-hmm,
And these are the
yeah.
conversations that I love having with leads, because this is what they want to hear. They
Mm-hmm,
want to know, am I protected?
mm-hmm,
And I gained more business from turning listings away than I did from actually taking the listings.
yeah.
because they just want honesty. They don't
Oh,
want
for
over
sure.
fluff. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want over fluff. Is our
Yeah.
guest Yvonne, or is he a no-show?
No, he's trying to join the webinar. It says, what does it say? Joining webinar.
It's not allowing him to join.
Why?
So anybody on, come on, ask questions. What's your biggest objection so far over the last month or so? Because we're moving into a different season, and we're coming out
Mm-hmm.
of the summer, going into our fall market. What are you guys recognizing with your leads? Are you calling your leads?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
texting your leads? Are you communicating with your leads? How are
I
your
know
campaigns doing?
we just had a slight drop in interest rates here, but for some people that are talking to you, that's really the buyers are still being cautious. They are anticipating more drops. So a lot of them are still just sitting, waiting. But we all know it's going to happen. That happens. So, but that's like pulling teeth, talking to walls sometimes when you're trying to reason with a potential buyer, kind of explaining the situation of what's going to happen when that, we hit that prime interest rate that everyone's waiting for. Well, guess what? Everyone's going to flood to the market all at the same time. And really your monthly cost is not going to change when it comes to payments. Right. So it's really hard, I think, in some, but every market's different, right? And I think right now, just time of year, anyone I'm talking to, the market, it's time of year, right? It's the market generally slows down in Canada for most places because we're seasonal, right? We're not like Florida where it's just sunny all the time, or things like that. People take advantage of the great weather, and they have other things that they're more focused on. Who wants to be packing and moving? Like really, like I would not want to be personally, right?
Well,
So
and it always comes down to that urgency. If someone
yeah.
doesn't have to move, why are they going to put themselves through the inconvenience if it's not a have to, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not a major upgrade in their life?
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I may not have the urgency, but oh my God, if that opportunity does become available and it's going to save me that much money to move that much sooner. And really, our job is, and I've always said this, right? The only thing that makes a sale happen is opportunity and expectation meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So if my expectations are met with an opportunity, I'm going to execute.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, why would I go through the hassle if I don't have to? Because it's not fun moving.
No, it's not. Looks like we got Jagdeep in here now. Hi,
Hi
Jagdeep. How
there.
are you?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Good. You managed to get in finally.
Yes, I came with my phone. First I was trying with the desktop, so yeah.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Now I gave Beverly just a brief here. So Jagdeep, you're running seller campaigns, is that correct?
Yes, I am, yes.
Yeah, and so what are you finding right now with your seller campaign? Is it just really getting these people to communicate with you in the first place, or is there a lot of pushback, or what are you finding currently with the seller leads that you are generating?
A lot of pushback for sure. So people are mostly saying that four or five things which I have wrote down.
Yep.
No, we are not looking to sell. We were just browsing.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell us the price, but you can't visit the property. Give me the roughly idea how much it could sell for. And the fifth one is very common. Interest rates are very high, so we don't want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly is the call to action? Or is it like a home evaluation lead
Yeah.
attraction? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
So they're
home
going on
evaluation.
the home worth landing page, signing up to see what their home is essentially worth. By doing so, they are all automatically set up to receive active and sold listings in their neighborhoods. It's a great way for him to be able to nurture these leads over time. I guess it's just the genuine or general objections, right? Because often we speak with buyer leads, and we know what the majority of those objections are. But Jagdeep is doing seller campaigns. It looks to be performing quite well, actually. So it's how do we handle, I guess, those objections with the sellers when they are.
So it's interesting that we're using the word objection, right? And because if they don't have an urgency or reason to move, it's not an objection. It's the reality. It's the story. It is what it is. So I like to eliminate the negative connotation of objection and look at this from a perspective when he was going through kind of his list of reasons of why he doesn't have a listing from these leads, right? One of them that stuck out in my mind more prominent than any of the other ones was, give me the value of my house, but don't come and visit it. What does that conversation look like, Jagdeep, whenever you're talking to them and they're like, oh, I want to know the value, but don't come and see my house? Like, where does that conversation go? Do you give them a price? Just kind of walk me through that.
No, I don't give them the price. I said that if I have to give you the exact or like a proper market value, then I have to visit your property, because without visiting, I can't see all the features, all the neighborhood and other stuff. So it's not a fair to give you the a wrong value or which is not justify the actual market value of your property. So I want to visit your property. No obligation to sell, 20 minutes max, and you will get a professional advice for free. That's what I say.
So let me ask you this. If they have no intention of selling at all, do you still want to go see the property and give them an evaluation?
Yes, I will. I will give them a roughly idea, but won't give them an exact value, like a bigger bracket.
So if you're having a conversation with somebody and you don't give them that price, you're just saying, you know what, I'm only going to give you a price if I come see the property. Do you know why they want the price?
Definitely they want to sell, and there is another reason that they could be asking the price from any other agents as well. So they just want to cement their opinion or the price in their mind as well. That could be the other reason.
And what is your value proposition in regards to, if I let you come into my home to give me your value, your opinion of value, why should I go with you versus any other agent in the market?
My experience in this market, my recent solds, which I have done for my clients, ratio, listing over selling ratio, that's the thing. And good results. You can check my Google reviews, and I can show you the 25 different ways how I can list your property and sell it in a better way than the others.
And strategy to make me the most amount of money. Do you have a systems and strategies in place to ensure that you're going to make me the most amount of money out of my sale?
Oh, definitely. My negotiation skills, my grip on market stats, and all the stuff I do with the data, and my 5 years of experience in the real estate, which matters most.
So I am picking up on your confidence, and I love that. And the reason I was asking these questions is a lot of this comes down to the lead not so much caring, because honestly, it's not about the list price of their home. If they're truly interested in selling their home, they're interested in, can you maximize the amount of money going into their pocket in the shortest amount of time? That's what every seller wants. They want to make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And if that elevator pitch becomes more about that, then I just want to come to your house to give you a listing presentation. How can you change your verbiage when you're having conversations with these leads to ensure them that you are the best agent to fit?
With the sellers, I haven't got any appointment yet so far. But I started running seller campaign from last month or so.
Right.
Buyers leads, I have a lot of success. I just converted one lead two weeks ago about them a house in Brampton for 1081. So buyer leads, I had a great success so far, but for the sellers, I don't have any success.
Well, and that's what I'm asking you as far as your conversations with the seller leads. The most important thing is to find out what their plans are and if they are interviewing agents and getting your foot in the door and not making it so much about the conversation of, okay, you want a price, but let me in your house. It's what are you looking for? What are your expectations? What is most important to you in the process? When are you going to be interviewing agents?
The conversation don't go that further. So mostly we were just browsing. Can you give us a roughly idea from your experience? You can check the pictures online, and this is the farthest the conversation goes so far.
So taking it from there, oh my gosh, I would love to give you a price. So just give me an idea of like what are your future plans? When do you plan on selling your home?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got to find out what their future plans are and what their intentions are before we even think about a price. Because if they're 6 months down the road or a year down the road, we all know that the market can change dynamics. So if I give you a price today, it's not going to be the same in 6 months.
So their
So I
motivation
may
is
not want to come for 6 months if you have no plans of even selling. But if there's, okay, well, I have to wait until my kids are out of university or they still have 1 more year left. They're going to be starting school here in a month. And then they got 1 year left. And then I'm probably going to be going on the market, blah, blah, blah. Or holiday time, I'm going to go on right after the holiday, or finding out what that time frame is from them. And then
Mm-hmm.
asking them, what can I do for you in the meantime? What is most important for you while you're doing this research? I would love to get information to you just about your neighborhood and keep you up to date on what is selling. So kind of taking away that like the own self urgency of, I want to come to your house and give you a price, but I got to get in the door, because if I get in the door, I can give you a price and put a sign in your yard. But if they're not looking, if they're not at that point yet, because home seller leads are a longer incubation normally than buyer leads. And we all know
Yes.
now buyer leads are like a long incubation time, right?
Yeah.
So if we're
For
looking
sure.
at the seller leads as just wondering, and because I like to take it from the approach whenever I ask them, I love home evaluation leads, but they are a very long seasonality time frame to really nurture. Because what I learned on home evaluation leads is sometimes they don't even own the home, right? They were driving by, they got an address, like, oh my God, my best friend lived in that house. That was their grandma's house and it's for sale. Wonder what it's for. Wonder what it's worth. And they'll just plug an address in. So they don't it doesn't necessarily mean it's the seller. So when I approach my home evaluation leads, whenever I call them, I immediately go, hey, I saw that you were online looking at the price for 123 Main Street, or the value of 123 Main Street. And they're like, yeah, I was just curious. Well, did you find what you were looking for? And they may say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Were you happy with what you found, with the information that you gathered? And they're like, yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Well, I just want to remind you that it is really a very general evaluation and it's nowhere near specific. So what are your future plans? Do you plan on, is this your home? Do you plan on selling?
So
And they're
just
like,
need to know the motivation first.
yes, because, and that's why I asked the question, if we're focused on getting in the door, but maybe they just want to refinance and they're just trying to get an idea of the value of the home to see if it's worth, because everyone wants to do their own work, right? Because
Right.
we can now today. So a lot of people are just jumping online just to kind of, maybe they've already pushed the envelope and they're moving forward with the refinance and they're waiting on the appraisal to come back and they want to do their own homework to see if it matches.
That's right. Yes.
Right. So we can never assume that just because they did the evaluation that they are sellers, because they
Right.
are just searching Amazon. And right before this call, I have cats and I have like litter pads and litter pellets that I use. So I've been on Amazon for literally the last 20 minutes because there's like a ton of sellers on Amazon that I could buy these pellets from. So I'm like trying to diversify which one's the cheapest based on the poundage and based on the money. And so I spent 20 minutes just researching freaking cat pellets. we are in an information gathering economy right now, and everybody goes online to get data. So if we treat our leads from a perspective, if someone would call me and say, Bev, I see you're looking for cat litter pellets. Well, this is my price for this pound. I'm like, oh God, please, yes, I'm buying it, right?
Right.
Because you just saved me time. So if we look at our home evaluation leads that are curious and helping them to understand, I want to help you with what you came online to look for. So if we approach the phone call from a inquisitive perspective, did you find the information that you were looking for? Were you
Yeah,
happy with the information that you found?
that's a good question. Yes.
That way it can lead into that conversation of, do you have any future plans? And
The time frame thing.
that's going to be a yes or a no. And
Right.
then you can determine, because you don't, let's just face it, you don't want to waste your time going to
Right.
someone's home if they never have any intention of selling. So I look at it as, thankfully, they told you, no, don't come to my house, because they probably are not serious. Now, have you gone back and looked at any of these addresses to see if these homes are on the market?
Yes, I check, definitely. First thing I check.
Have any gone on the market?
Not recently, like none of them, but few of them, they just bought like 2-3 months ago. They were just checking curiously, have they bought like with a high price, or what have the prices gone down since they bought it? So that thing happens as well with a few leads.
Well, and look at that as, in a service industry world, we wake up every day unemployed. And our number one goal is to network, talking to more people than, and what's beautiful about lead generation is it's giving you people to talk to. So it's up to us to determine where those conversations are going to go. And if we look at the long-term value of one individual, it may not be that lead that came into your website, but the average person knows 100 people.
Right.
So if you look at the value of that lead that you're having a conversation with that just bought 2 or 3 months ago, how can you help them be able to understand the value of their home over the course of time, so that when they're talking to friends, family, acquaintances, if they hear of anybody that's going to be making a move, they're like, oh my God, I was talking to Jagdish and he's been such a wealth of information. He got me set up on this, and he wasn't even like looking at putting a sign in my yard. He didn't even ask me about selling my house. He just wanted to give value.
Yes. Yeah. So give them like a quarterly, monthly reports, or market reports. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and I always like to put it on them. Ask them, what would be helpful for you to really get a good understanding of what's happening in the real estate market for future reference? What would you like to receive from me? How often would you like to receive it from me? And if you don't mind, can I put you on my referral list? Do you have an agent that you would send your friends and family to if you heard someone talking about wanting to buy or sell a home?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, referral thing as well.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong in that.
and sometimes it's weird asking that question, but when you're having genuine conversations and you're adding value to people's lives, they want to reciprocate that.
Right.
So when we have those conversations of, I saw you were online looking for a value on 123 Main Street. Do you mind me asking, like, did you find what you were looking for? Oh yeah. Were you happy with the results that you found? Yeah, I was pretty happy with the results I found. Well, just out of curiosity, do you have any future plans? What brought you online to look? Oh no, we just bought 2-3 months ago. I was just really poking around and being nosy. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you landed here, because I would love to help you like watch the market in the future. Would that be something you would be interested in? Yeah. Well, how often would you like to receive updates on your community? blah, 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 blah. Great. Well, can I just ask you a favor? Do you have an agent that you would go to if you had a friend or a family, if you ever heard them talking about buying or selling a home? Do you have an agent that you would refer them to? No. Can I add you to my referral list? Can I just check in with you every now and then and just say, hey, I have goals that I'm trying to meet, and I'm trying to meet a lot of people. And I so appreciate our time together. And I want to add value to our community and to the real estate industry. Would you mind referring me?
Good questions, yes, and a good structure as well. Four or
Yeah.
five questions.
What's that?
4 or 5 questions, you can know the seriousness and there are also the future plans.
Yeah. 100%.
Mhm.
Because and it's easy, right? When we exchange our money for a lead,
Mhm.
our little brains are looking at the value of that lead and saying, well, they're not buying, they're not selling, it's a worthless lead. But it's really up to us to expand and broaden the opportunity with every single conversation that we have within that's our job, is letting
Definitely.
people know our doors are open for business, and not just with you, but with anybody
Right, right.
that they know.
Awesome, awesome. Those are good ones.
Mhm.
Definitely, I will try them on my recent. The leads came into my system. Then I will let you know.
And
Beautiful.
really with the market updates, for anyone, because if you're running traffic to your Homeworth landing page, especially anyone on Preb, there's certain boards that have the sold listings. All these people in here are getting those updates. So they're going to, so it's just the way you might word it. I can see here, we've got you set up. You're going to receive regular updates when any of the neighbors' houses sell or gets listed on the market. So you can stay in tune with what's going on around you. And you can review that information almost as if it was a buyer lead. So I can see here, like, I just want to confirm that's your address. I see here you're in a house. Are you in a detached? Are you in a semi-detached? What kind of house are you in? So I can send you properties that are more comparable with the one that you currently own. So I'm not sending you, townhouses when you have a detached home. So again, it's kind of taking, the system has helped you already by sending this information automatically to leads. You're tweaking it to cater to them specifically.
And
Well, and if you've taken that conversation to, can I add you to my referral network? Watching their neighborhoods for what's happening, and when a sale does happen, make a call to them. Go, hey, did you see your neighbor at 124 Main Street just sold?
Mhm.
Gosh, you just increased your equity by I just want to let you know. Hope you're having a great day.
Mhm.
Then they'll be like, oh my God, wow. And so this is a beautiful thing about customer service today. It sucks no matter where you go, no matter what industry, no matter where you go, customer service is just horrible. So it doesn't take much for us to be able to really shine in that customer service perspective. Every single person, this whole wide world, just wants to be heard. And if you're listening to them and you're following through. So let's say this conversation even goes about they bought in this community because they absolutely love the da da da. So whenever you call them back, you may mention the da da da. Say, I hope you're enjoying the da da da. Maybe it's the pool, maybe it's the tennis courts, maybe it's whatever it may be. But in that person's mind, they feel heard. And those are the little things that are so subliminal that people are like, I really like this guy. And they're not even realizing why. But that's how we build that trust, is by these little things that we pick up from what they're saying. Repeating a dog's name, repeating a child's name, asking them about whatever life situation was going on when we were having the conversation. Maybe they have their first child going into university for, their first year of school. So the next time you talk to them, go, hey, I just want to let you know this home just sold. Oh, by the way, how is so-and-so? Or how are they enjoying their first year in school?
Mhm.
And the unfortunate thing is we forget that's part of our sales process, is being real with people and treating them the way that we want to be treated. And when we're really acting on that kindness, as long as it's genuine. I mean, you don't want it to be like totally fake and like, oh, okay, I gotta call this dude today. I don't want to be right.
Yeah.
You really want to be doing it from the heart. And that's where it's, how can you bring your fun and your authenticity into what you're doing every day with your leads?
Mhm.
Because that's what they want to feel. They want to feel your energy. They want to feel your excitement. They want to feel, what can this guy do for me, even though I'm not selling my
Mhm.
house? And that's why I always loved community, because you can really build such a wonderful community within that. Everyone wants to know where the best steak is in, well, unless you're a
Mhm.
vegetarian, but everybody wants to know, where's the best place to get a steak? Where is the best place to get the best price on something? Right? It's like
Mhm.
everyone wants to know where the cool kids hang out.
Yeah.
And when we're offering those things in conversation, you're creating that commodity with our leads. And we just forget that, right? We're just calling our
Mhm.
leads and going, okay, well, they're not buying, they're not selling. Next,
Mhm.
next.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
And I still will never forget. I don't know why, Crystal, that one conversation I had with that one lead that lived in a townhouse that
Mhm.
she knew the market. And I think you probably
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
which lady I'm talking about. She
Yeah.
knew the market and she knew she was smoking a pipe dream, but she was hoping
Mhm.
that house
Yeah.
might come available.
Yeah.
But she wasn't like holding anybody accountable to make it happen for her. She
No.
was watching the market, and maybe someday markets would shift and change and the opportunity may come up.
Yeah.
Or maybe the neighbor would absolutely snap and it would change her urgency and she would have to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And she
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
But the conversation, like, I would love to remember her and call her back and just say, how you doing? What's
Mhm.
going on with the neighbors? Has there been any like
Yeah.
fun
How's the
incidents
neighbor?
lately?
How's the
Yeah.
neighbor doing? Right.
Yeah.
And that's even then, it's like, that's like a memorable conversation. You might not remember the lady's name, but you remember the conversation. And this is one of the things where I said, like, put those notes in. Those are memorable conversations, because when you open up, you're going to go, aha, that was the lady. Right. And then being personable, right? So having that great customer service of just doing a follow-up and checking in, and again, being able to refer to the kids' names, to the dogs' names, or what they were doing the last time you spoke, really helps to build that connection. So if you're not leaving yourself strong notes, you're not doing yourself a favor. You're just like, oh, they're not moving now, whatever it is. Very simple note that's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form when you do a follow-up, because you're going to have no clue who that person is when you go to call them.
It's no longer personal. We want to be very personal with our conversations. Yeah, that is an absolute fact. I tried logging in and I needed an authentication. Jagdish, do you have, it might be too late because I did it like 5 minutes ago, but do you have a 4-digit number that was texted to you?
It might be in his email.
1 second, I can check.
It said it was sent to his phone.
Oh.
1 second. Yes, 6319.
Yeah, I gotta log back in. It timed me out. And let me go back and grab your login information again.
Crystal, can we send a sold listing, or can we check sold listing with the with the app, home
With
locator app?
the app?
Okay,
Yeah, they can.
I need the number again, Jagdish, sorry.
9391.
Yep. The app, they can toggle between active and sold.
Okay, because sometimes if you ask people, is it okay if I call you if anything sold in this area, and people say, don't call us, don't email us.
Mhm.
But you can give them the third solution, which is please download this app, and you can, if anything sold, you will
Yeah.
get a notification.
Yeah. Yeah. The push
Okay.
notifications on the app. They'll still be in the system. They still register as a, or there's still a lead in there, and you still see their activity for sure. You would just have to kind of contacted by phone. They're still going to get the emails, though. That's the thing. They'll
Okay.
still get the emails. Yeah.
And
Okay.
question for you, Crystal, the blur's not on here and we only have 15 minutes left, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Question I have for you, Jagdish,
Mhm.
your the lead that you just had come in at 12:20 today, it's a bad phone number. Do you
Yes,
have, how are you communicating with your bad phone number leads?
I just assigned him a e-campaign for the bad number.
Okay.
That he read that email. I
Mhm.
just checked this address. He bought this property in July, I think in April, I guess, for 820. So he's just wondering about the price. He got the right price or not. So I'm gonna email him one more time from the system that with the direct email, not e-campaign. What's your best number to call? But he's checking his email, so he opened his all 3 emails since.
Mhm.
So, and I looked at the first one. It says, thank you for registering. Is that a default email? Do you have the ability to
No,
know what?
That's
you can't
that's
edit it. It's
Okay, so
default.
that's just the thank you for registering, and
Yeah.
that one's
The auto.
I was
Yeah,
asking.
that's the auto reply. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, oops, I think we've got something wrong. Is
That's the bad number
999 the
campaign.
best number to reach you on, a valid phone number? All right. I'm going to make a suggestion here because of these being home evaluation leads.
Mhm.
I would go back that very first, oops, I think I did something wrong. And I would actually set this up on all of your leads. And again, it's not about seller leads, like I said, are long seasoning. We want to give value, give value, give value, and build that trust over time.
Right.
So the most important thing that we need to know from a home evaluation lead is, were you able to find what you were looking for? I don't care if they have a bad phone number or not. I want to know, were you able to find what you were looking for? Because that is what's going to generate the conversation.
So we can email them that thing as well.
Yeah, I would structure your email campaigns to really create a call to action.
Can you?
Let me see. I need to scrub through my content. I was actually, Crystal, if we can do a side conversation. I had a thought in my mind because I have so much content that
Yeah.
I'd like to scrub through and kind of package it and start like throwing it out on the Agent Locator Facebook group.
Mhm.
Don't know what that looks like. So a side conversation on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have a home evaluation campaign.
Because that one there, it's just a generic, well, I'm going to say generic bad number campaign. So it could be in anyone that has campaigns in your system. You don't have to use them as they are. You can go into each action and edit it so that it you can adjust the wording that's in that. You can clone it. So maybe you have a bad number seller, bad number buyer, right? Because how we might want to say things or structure things in those campaigns might be slightly different as to the questions we're asking. So you definitely have full capabilities on all of that in the system.
Yeah, there's one lead registered on August 3rd. So they had a bad number before, then they changed to this number, which is outside of Canada. So I just put that number, save the contact, and it was a WhatsApp number. I called this guy this morning. He didn't pick up the call. Then I sent him a text on WhatsApp. Then he called me back. So yeah, so we should yeah.
Yeah, I always kind of say if it's an international number and you can, because you can see their location, their where their IP is pinging, if
Right.
they're not using VPNs, and then you can see the number. So it's sometimes you're like, well, it's not necessarily a bad number, it's just not local.
Local,
So
yes.
those ones there, I tend to, so that they don't show up in your call list as people that you should be trying to call, and you don't want to mark it as invalid because you don't want to block them from the listing.
Right.
Is either like mark that number as an opt out in the system so that they can still access the listings, but tag them like international buyer, things like that. And you can put them on, a buyer bad number campaign,
Right.
or recognizing, maybe you develop something that is more of an international type. I can recognize, I can see you're from, not from Canada, is, buying a property in the Toronto area, something you guys are considering, right? So you can kind of adjust or use the different tools or watch their activity. Is this person's activity worth the extra effort on them? Or in some cases, they come and they look at one property and then they're never seen again, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes. There is one other lead registered on 23rd of July. So that's also same kind of lead. That lady is in USA. She's gonna visit Canada end of this month. So, but still, she still check my emails, like the listings email.
Yeah.
I saved her number on WhatsApp, called her, talked to her. So
Yeah, and you can tag them WhatsApp too. So instead of international buying, you just go WhatsApp. So then you know that I can contact these people through a different method.
yeah, that's a good idea for that to name a new tag. Yes.
And it looks like, do you have buyer leads and seller leads coming in? It looks
That's
like you.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them.
Yes.
Mostly seller.
So
Yeah.
it's imperative whenever you are reaching out and calling these people to really know and identify with how they came into the site with that opening, because we have like literally less than like 2 seconds for them to determine if they're going to hang up on us or not, right? So the
Right.
home buyer leads, that opening of, I saw you were online looking at homes in Toronto. The seller lead, I saw you were online looking to find the value of 123 Main Street.
Right.
Then that way it's very quickly identified who you are while you're calling, because whenever people see phone numbers on their phone that they don't recognize, their defense is like right up there. They're going like,
Also.
like, I don't want to talk to this person. I'm not ready to have a conversation. I don't know who I'm having a conversation with. But when you identify very quickly who you are, why you're calling, and I'm not saying who you are on your name, your website, your company, it's you were on my website looking at homes, or you were online. Doesn't even matter your website, you were online. Because more than not, when you Google anything, they pop in, they're looking at your home evaluation, and they've probably done it 2 other times too with 2 other websites. So it doesn't matter whose website, it just matters that you're identifying they were online, because the schematics can come later, because you're going to be having multiple emails going to them. So it doesn't matter that you don't know who you are right now, because you're not going to remember anyway.
So what's a good, like a very good opening introduction to them? Any lead, buyer or seller? Do we
So
need to mention about?
to the buyer, when you're looking at the lead, it shows that they were looking, like I'm looking at one right now, they were looking in Toronto. Hey, Manoj, this is Beverly. I saw that you were online looking at homes in Toronto. And if they were condos, identified as condos. If they were townhomes, identify as townhomes. If they're single family, identify. I see that you were looking at single family homes in Toronto online. What are your future plans? The home seller lead, hey, I saw that you were online looking for the value of 123 Main Street. Did you find what you were looking for?
And they're
just
gonna ask, who are you?
right to the chase.
Yeah.
Because if we're calling and saying, hey, this is Jagdish, I'm with Remax and my website is blah, 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 they're gonna be like, who are you? Click.
Right.
Because they're not even hearing what you're saying, because they're trying to figure out if they're going to hang up on you or not. because
And
they're not prepared to have a conversation with somebody they don't know.
And
Right.
really with the buyer and seller, so if you're going with a buyer and maybe you just want to make sure they had a good user experience, let me make sure I'm sending you the properties you want to be receiving. Same with the seller, right? I want to be sending you the properties that are closest to the one that you would possibly consider selling down the road. After the call, it's like, hey, I'm just going to shoot you over those listings right away. So then as soon as you're off the call with them, they're getting the email that your name stands out. Then in that email, they can sort of put the 2 and 2 together, where they might start looking at those emails more than any competitor if they haven't, if they're not having conversations.
Is it
They know
possible
that
to
yours are true.
Okay,
Hmm?
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. We know that we have a feature that we just put one number on MLS, any MLS number, and send one listing at a time, and
Yep.
customize that email. Is it
Mhm.
possible to send 2-3 properties from the CRM in one email and customize that email?
Yeah, you do the hand-picked listings. So
Okay.
yeah, so in their account when you have it open, like right next to the box where it's a like where you have the lead alerts kind of check box, there's like
Yeah,
a
pick
little
listings.
yeah, so that's where you can toggle that to sold, and you can put the numbers in there, so you select the listings that you want to send to them.
So you
That's how
can
you
put
do that.
multiple
Mhm.
MLS numbers.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So what's
Yeah.
what's been your takeaway today, Jagdish?
Structure the call. First ask them, hey, you are online looking for the home evaluation of your property. They said, yes, okay. My name is Jagdeep, and how can I help you with that? They said, we were just looking for, okay, have you find what you were looking for? So, no, yes. And then ask their motivation, time frame, and
Yeah.
then go for future plans, like if they're looking for 3 to 6 months, but go more further, like what's more important in 3 to 6 months,
Yes.
interest rate, whatever, school, then go more down in those questions. Is it okay if I contact you in next 2 months, or is it okay if I give you the home valuation right now? And if when are you ready in 3 months, let's reevaluate that thing at that time as well.
And
So
how does
structure
that
is the main thing.
feel? Like just saying that out loud, how does that feel to you?
Feels good because I haven't structured those calls ever. So buyer calls are different things, and that was my experience. I was okay with those ones, but seller leads are different. They are selling their product, so they will be more defensive, or they will have more authority than us.
Yeah.
So buyer lead has a different kind of authority with the client. We have a different kind of authority.
Yep.
Seller lead has a different kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And it is. It's just being of service, right? And just finding
Right.
out instead of going right to the juggler. I go,
That,
just want to put a sign in your yard. It's, like, what are you looking for and how can I help you? And just helping them to understand how that data is captured, that it is
yeah.
very general based on a lot of other conditions. And, you just want to make sure that what they were looking for, it may not give them the accuracy that they were maybe wanting. Yeah,
Okay.
and
After.
who even knows? You might even, because a lot of them are looking to refinance potentially. So having that lender in your back pocket and being able to offer, hey, I strongly suggest talking to so and so. So
Right.
that way you can even get business for your lenders. Because when we
Yeah,
give
that's a
business
good
to our
idea.
lenders, they'll give business to us, right?
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
And is it in general, seller leads are being difficult in these days to convert, or is it me, or like my thing?
They've always been. They've always been. You're actually getting a decent number. I'm not sure what your budget looks like or what have you, but you're actually doing quite well on those seller campaigns. So typically
Okay.
we would say buyer campaigns, because often your sellers go online checking out real estate before they look at their value, right? But you've got a
Right.
fair bit. But the sellers have always been, not always looking to sell, just curious, looking to refinance, just different. They not always necessarily looking to list their home. right? So then that's just always been the case. Just like a buyer lead comes in, doesn't necessarily looking to buy a home right yet,
Right.
right?
Yes.
It's just different, and the time to convert is different. It can take a little bit longer with some of these seller leads to actually get them to list their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I always did buyer leads, because buyer leads were cheaper. And
Mhm.
to Crystal's point, leads that have a home to sell are always looking to purchase before they're thinking about selling.
Mhm.
Selling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start to look to where they potentially want to be moving to, or what they would be potentially looking for in their next home, right? So, but
And that's what's fun about capturing these leads and really almost doing your own kind of beta test on them to see if your financial investment is worth the home evaluation leads.
Yeah.
You know, just I would call through as many as you can and just find out, you know, did you find what you were looking for and why were you looking, kind of thing, and see if the value is there for them.
And
give them the value.
And you are also, because you are doing buyers and sellers, you know, kind of using that a little bit to your advantage of, you know, even adding to some of your conversations with those seller leads is that, you know, I do have a database of a lot of buyers that could be potentially looking for your product, you know, if, you know, and so, and kind of leveraging that a little bit, right? So if they're not ready to list their home, but if somebody was willing to offer them potentially the right price, you know, would it be something you're looking, you know, you may be willing to entertain? So it's kind of just taking a little bit of both and using that, using that to your advantage for sure. And then just going into a question I know Ricardo had asked for seller campaigns and AgentLocator. Are you doing yours? So you can do them, Ricardo, you can do them Facebook, you can do them Google, either or. Jagdeep, you're doing yours through Google right now?
Google, yes.
Yeah, so you're doing yours. Yeah, so either way, so Ricardo, like a Google is again kind of the same way as the buyers to work. Facebook, you do have the option. Essentially, we often use the lead forms for that one. But you can also do traffic campaigns on Facebook too, where you're just driving the traffic to that specific landing page. So it's really a matter of how you would want to set that up, really, and then talking to our Facebook marketing team to see which one would be, you know, potentially, you know, a higher lead count or lower cost per lead, essentially, or conversion on Facebook.
And I have to jump, Crystal. I have a 2
No
o'clock.
worries. You betcha. Awesome. Well, thanks,
Jagdeep,
Jagdeep.
so much for your
Thanks a lot.
time.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
good
a lot.
luck to you. You got this. I love your confidence.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Crystal. Bye-bye.
Bye.